Borders Rugby TV and Radio have been delighted to team up with local Borders-based company BE Uniforms and also Canterbury this season. They're our official kit suppliers, and some of the team went down to have a look round the factory at Greenlaw to see what goes on behind the scenes and have a chat with some of the key people at the company, including Andrew Hodgson.
It's very important to you, I think, as a local firm to be involved in the local rugby scene.
Absolutely. I mean, Borders Rugby is the heartbeat of Scottish rugby, and obviously not just rugby, but generally sport's always been strong in the Borders, and to be involved in teamwear in this area is quite exciting, and to be involved with BE Uniforms as well, obviously it ties everything hand in hand.
What's your own connection with rugby?
My own connection with rugby, well, the ship sailed now, but basically I'm the other side of the border, sadly, but I was educated in the Borders, so I was up in Melrose for the early part of my career, so I got under the guidance of Chump Murray, which is many good rugby players have come through that avenue, and then went up to Edinburgh, played up at Loretto there, so always played rugby from the age of sort of 8-year-old, came back, joined Alnwick, stayed at Alnwick, one-man club. Fortunately, there was never enough money to buy me out of any contract there, so I just was happy enough to stay there and play there, to be fair.
Because Alnwick is very much connected with Berwick. The rivalry between those two clubs is phenomenal. It's
fantastic. I mean, I don't quite think there's the rivalry between like the Melrose and Gallagher and Hoyk and all the local sides up here, Kelsers and them, but yeah, certainly is like Alnwick and Berwick, Alnwick Morpeth, you know, thankfully we've got some close games because I think we have 3 games away down in the Nottingham area, so we do a lot of travelling in the league we're in at Alnwick now. So yeah, it's a very good, proper rugby club, which is pretty much like the Border sides.
So tell us about BE Uniforms then.
Yeah, BE Uniforms, well, I've dealt with BE Uniforms through my career, I think since 1990. I joined up with Billy, the father, and he always done my embellishments, my embroidery. We've sort of rolled together right the way through our careers, really. Obviously, getting on a bit now in years, but we've moved with the times significantly. BE Uniforms has just thrived, massively grown. Workwear, schoolwear, teamwear, really big company, and they asked me to come on board with them in June, so I was delighted to come on because obviously with the size of what we were doing in teamwear, we weren't able to keep up with the demands of what people were wanting. It just got too big. Systems here, it's absolutely well organised, and you know, we can take things forward massively compared with what I was doing, and I just couldn't take it any further. So thankfully there was 2 very enthusiastic young boys called William and Ross Smillie who were happy to take me on board under the guidance of their father Billy. So you know, we've known each other for years, so yeah, I was delighted to come on board then.
And it's a business that's really thriving.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, teamwear is just part of it, really, and you'll see later when you walk around the whole factory and stuff what actually goes on, and you wouldn't think it in a little place called Greenlaw, that you get a company doing as much turnover, employing as many people. They've got shops all over the sort of central belt of Scotland, down into England, about 10 shops, I believe. So it's a massive company based in the Scottish Borders to service all the sort of embroidery, workwear needs, teamwear needs that anyone really needs, and they're based in the Borders, which I think is really key for any business up here. Supporting the Borders, supporting each other is fantastic. Ross and William, under the guidance of Phil Morris, they've got big plans going forward the next 2 or 3 years, which thankfully I'll be happy to be involved with. And you know, with the workwear side, they see a massive growth in workwear. I think they probably do about 1,800 schools. Obviously the teamwear business now, where we've brought in a lot of the clubs that I dealt with, and then we've been to see a lot more as well. You know, just it all ties in to make one business under one roof, really.
In the summertime, we're over 200 staff. In the head office here, we've got roughly about 130 in the summertime, and we actually worked out that we're about 25% of the local working population for Greenlaw. So, we've got a considerable amount of people working here locally. So
that's something to be very proud of.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a big part of the area, a big part of the village, you know. You see them all walking up the street in the morning, getting to work, and you think, you're doing the village well. So,
and we obviously are involved in the sporting side, but I mean, there's colleges, there's schools, there's all sorts of people taking advantage of this booming industry, really.
Yeah, definitely. We're involved with a bit of everything. The workwear is really the side that's at the minute. That's where we're seeing the biggest growth. Schoolwear wise, we've got a large percentage of the market share in Scotland. We would say we've got a fair chunk of that, but workwear is where we see the big growth, anyways. So
And that customer service so important.
Oh, without a doubt, customer service is the major factor in what we do. It's been difficult over the last couple of years with COVID and the staffing issues, supply chain issues, but customer service is how we've basically built our business on customer service, and we will continue to do so. Just trying to put improvements in place just so that we can give the best possible service. There's a lot of people doing a similar thing to what we are doing, but we just need to make sure that we are better than service-wise than them.
Well, Ross, you and your brother have got a very interesting business going on here. Who is number one? Who's number two? Is it equal?
Well, William's older, but I'm definitely number one.
Yeah, I thought so.
Technically equal, though.
Tell us about the technical side here as well, because there's lots of things going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always trying to improve things here. We've invested heavily in the stock system, linking into our websites, into the shops, just controlling everything from when the order comes in, comes all the way through and out the door. I mean, a lot of the time we don't even see the orders, you know. And it's just about trying to improve that all the time, trying to get things in and out the door as fast as we can.
Presumably there's a lot of technical stuff goes on, a lot of machinery work goes on, you press a button, it's there, but there's a lot of skill involved as well.
Yeah, definitely there is. I mean, working on embroidery machines, it's not exactly easy. Takes about, I don't know, 6 weeks probably to get up to a sort of minimum level where you can run it yourself. But it probably takes about 2 years to actually get fully trained and comfortable in it, you know, and be able to do everything that you want to do. So no, it's a skill, and to be fair, I think in the borders there's actually quite a lot of embroidery history. So you do find some people who have got experience, but we do mainly have to train everybody up from scratch ourselves. So you know, it's good to try and keep hold of people once we've got them.
And where does your passion come from?
I think I was just sort of born into it, you know. Ever since I was probably about 15-year-old, we were brought in the summer times and made to pick orders, work the machines. You know, it's just what we've always done. So, and here I am now, 28-year-old, still doing it. William said, there's not really an end to where we can go here, and we just want to try and keep building it and going as far as we can. And you know, it's just a good opportunity for definite.
Not a bad little roster that you've got, actually, involving the rugby clubs. You're involved with quite a few of them. Yeah,
well, across the borders, yeah, certainly I've had long-standing relationships with a lot of them over the years. Sort of Jed Forest, Hoy, Kelso, Melrose. We're doing Southern Nights now over at Berwick.
Well, you've mentioned most of the clubs. Are you going to try and go for the clean sweep?
Well, you never know. I'm always available on the phone. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, it's, you know, anybody who picks up the phone wants to deal with it, absolutely will go and see them and present, be honest. Not everyone wants the same brand, so you know there's another challenge, but sometimes they want non-branded product as well. We can just tick every box. We're very obviously strong with your Canterbury, your Macron, got Kukri on board. There's a new brand called Oxen we've sort of we've had 2 or 3 meetings with as well, and then we've got our own branded range that we're sort of developing at the minute. So yeah, there's a lot of bingo balls flying around the air, but we certainly we like to think we can do it as well as anyone out there.
Well, thanks for sponsoring us, of course, and good luck in the future. It's certainly a growing business.
Yeah, many thanks, and it's great to support you guys. You do a cracking job, and it's always great entertainment to see what's going on the TV there.